What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So I went and impulse bought light towers and welding machines. I don't know what I'm gonna do with all this stuff. Anyway, so I was on the internet scrolling around and I seen one of the local rental companies had some equipment for sale, and I've kind of been wanting a light tower for several years anyway. And I said, well, you know, I wouldn't mind having one of them. And I seen the welders, and I've been wanting to upgrade to a bigger size welder than what I have, an 1800 RPM unit instead of that 3600 RPM unit. It'd be a little quieter, and also it has a bigger generator on it, so when the power goes out that I'll be able to easier run my whole house, and hopefully maybe be able to run the central air. I'm not sure, but anyway, so they had two of those welders, and they were a match set. They bought them both brand new at the same time, and I think they had like 5 of these light towers or something. They were all a match set. They bought them all at the same time. And so I got thinking, I said, well, I could see, you know, like when I was doing that gooseneck project, if you got a light tower set up on one side, you're gonna have shadows on the other side if you're working on a big project like that. So I said, well, I could see where I might get 2 light towers, and I really only need 1 welding machine, but there was no way that I could test these machines to find out if they worked at the rental yard, didn't have any leads with me or any of that stuff, anything to weld on. So I kind of like, well, you know, what if there's something wrong with one of them? You know, don't really know. And they didn't give me a whole lot of information. I don't think this equipment's been used. They kind of just had it, they've had it for sale for a while, I suppose. It's kind of been sitting there. You kind of don't know what you're getting. It's kind of like going to auction kind of deal. But anyway, so I said, well, I'll take both machines and I'll get 2 light towers. I got to take a gooseneck trailer to get it anyway. And so I think I can fit all that on one trip. It's gonna take me the same amount of time, and I'll figure out what to do with it later. So anyway, that's what I did. I went and picked up the whole trailer load of stuff, and I found out after I got back that sure enough, one of the welders does not work. And I've looked into it. I think I figured out what's going on with it. That's gonna be in the next video. We'll go over that and kind of figure out, let you guys know what I found and what's going on with that. But anyway, I want to take this video, show you guys a little bit about this stuff, what I got, and I guess what my plans are for it. Not that I really 100% know for sure yet, but anyway, this is what we got. These are 2015 model Magnum 3060 MLT 3060 light towers, and I bought the 2 with the lowest hours that they had for sale. Like I say, they had 5 of these, and I told them I wanted the 2 with the lowest hours. I think this one here's got like 5,600, and the other one's got 4,100. The other ones, I think they had 2 with like 6,000 hours on them, and then they had one with like 7,000 or something. So anyway, they all look like they were in pretty good shape, and I did crank them up and run them. And I got a light bulb out and the other one over there. I think it actually worked, and I think it went out on the way home, probably the vibration. But if you've never seen these things, they're pretty neat little setup here. It's basically, I mean, it's just a 6 kilowatt diesel generator is basically what it is here. Let's see. It's a Mitsubishi. I hadn't even looked at these that much. It's a Mitsubishi diesel engine. I thought they were Kubota. They made these in Kubota and Mitsubishi, but I guess these are Mitsubishi. I think one's supposed to be about as good as the other. But 5,600 hours on that one, and then this one here. Same identical thing. And that's what's good about buying something that you know, is a matching set. If you have a problem with one of them, you can kind of troubleshoot. One of the other one, this one's got 4,100 hours on it here, and they actually had this unit here on rent
whenever I called about it, I said, you know, I see y'all have 5 of these for sale, and you know, I want the 2 with the lowest hours. And they called and find out that that one there was actually out on rent. So they had to go pick it up and swap it with another unit, a newer unit that they had replaced, because they ordered, I guess they buy these things in semi-truck loads, and so they went and bought that. But anyway, I guess I'll crank this up and let you hear it. Very loud, as you can tell. I mean, they're 1800 RPM. I've seen some of these things with like 20,000 hours on them, so they're supposed to be pretty reliable. That'll come in pretty handy on working on something at night. It takes some things, those are metal halide, so it takes them a little while to get bright, but you definitely won't be able to look at them when they get fully on. So far, it's coming in pretty handy as a good tabletop for the shop here. Seeing as how it'll have a really good table. These seem to be, you know, it's got that flat surface rule. Everything's flat. You set something on it. It's kind of how that works. Put this lid down here on this one. They make these things with a bigger generator. They make all different sizes of them, but these are by far the most common. They're the cheapest, and that's what everybody wants is mainly for a light tower. They do make some up to a 20 kilowatt generator that they use on like the oil rigs and stuff. Those are really hard to find, and they're way more expensive if you find one. I wouldn't mind having one of them just for the 20 kilowatt generator part, and you know, has a light tower on it. But you know, I've never seen any of those for sale locally that was anywhere close to a good price. So anyway, that's what I wound up with, and hopefully we'll use these on a project at some point. I don't know what or when or whatever, but anywho, I'll move on to the welders over here. These welders are 2013 model. I think 2014 was the last of these here, and this is the Big Blue 400D. They are Dutz powered diesel, which is German. And the only thing that I don't like about them is the Dutz diesel uses a timing belt. I am not a fan of timing belts at all, but I guess it is what it is. That's what they use. They use these motors in man lifts and a lot of other stuff. And so they're supposed to be a very dependable motor as long as you change the timing belt. And I've heard different things on that as well about how often you're supposed to change them. And from what I've read on the internet, one company says 3,000 hours or 5 years. Another company says 1,000 hours or 5 years. I think they like to sell timing belts. Miller actually shows in the book here, and I'll show you this if I can find it real quick. They actually recommend 6,000 hours or 5 years. I don't know where in the book it's at, but that's what they recommend. Find it. It's on the side of the machine over there too. And these machines did come with the the manuals on both of them. As I say, they're identical machines. So I can use one to figure out, do some testing or whatever, figure out what's going on with the other. I'm not sure if I'm going to sell one of them or keep both of them or what I'm going to do just yet. Let's see here. Here it is, right here. This is the maintenance schedule that Dutch recommends. This is the 2011 LO3i engine is what's in these. And as you see, they have right at a 25-gallon fuel tank on these machines, and these are oil-cooled engines. They do not have a radiator, a water-cooled radiator or anything. But here's your timing belt that they recommend on these here. 6,000 hours or 5 years standard is your timing belt replacement.
So these machines are 7 years old. I don't know if they've ever had a timing belt put on them or not. I'm thinking for my uses, no more hours than I'm gonna put on it. It's not really gonna have any wear on the timing belt or the tensioner pulley. It's more gonna be age on the rubber, because rubber dry rots in time. But I'm thinking I might get 8 to 10 years out of a timing belt. I don't know. I don't recommend anybody trying that, because if it breaks, you're probably going to damage some valves and some pistons. But knowing me, it'll probably get changed every 8 or 10 years. Because I just don't see, I don't see a timing belt. They recommend 5 years, and there's usually, they did enough research on that 5 years is covering their self for recommending the 5-year interval. So there's extra built into that. I've seen vehicles that had the timing belt on them that didn't break until they were 12 to 15 years old, and the timing belt would break and pretty well destroy the motor, or it cost so much the vehicle wasn't worth fixing. But I'm probably going to stretch that out a little further than 5 years. Like I say, there already been 7 years. I do intend to look at it at some point and check those out and see what I think. Probably be changing them next year or two. I don't use the machine very much. As I say, if I was going to put them on a job, I'd go ahead and get them changed right now, and before I send them out to a job or something. But for what I'm doing, I'll get around to it eventually.
And the Big Blue 400D and 500X, I think those were built on the same frame size, and they still make a 400, but it's not a 400D. It's a 400 Pro, and they're not nearly this big. They're a lot smaller. They're made more for, to be put on a truck bed and whatnot. And as you see, if you put this massive thing here on a truck bed, you're not going to have much truck bed left. And they're supposed to weigh about 1850 a piece full of fuel, not counting the trailer. So if you count the trailer, it's over 2,000 pounds. This is my 300D Trailblazer here sitting beside it. And you can kind of see the size difference and that. I know this is not on a trailer, it's a little lower, but you can still I think you can still get the idea there that these are a lot bigger machine. And I wanted that for what I want to do with it, because the newer machines is more compact, only have like a 10-gallon, 11-gallon fuel tank like this has, which for welding, I mean, that's fine. But if you have a power outage, having a 25-gallon fuel tank, being able to hook this thing up and let it run, and it's going to be ideal for me and my application, what I plan to use it for a lot of things. And
So anyway, that's why that whenever I seen that for sale, that I knew what they were. I actually seen these machines, both of them, when they were brand new. A place I used to work at back in 2014 actually rented these machines for a period of time back when they were new, for a couple weeks or something. And I had seen the machines, and so I went and took a look at them and whatever. And I said, I wouldn't mind having a machine like that, because I've had this machine here for 10 years, and it was used obviously when I got it. I think I got this machine in 2009 or 10, something like that. But anyway, so I seen these here,
and I knew what they were and I knew the options they had. I'll go over the options in just a second, but so I decided I'd go look at them. Sure enough, it was the same two machines. I guess it's the only two machines they bought whenever they started their business or something other. And so anyway, it's the only two machines they ever bought like this. And then they started buying Lincoln stuff. I guess Lincoln gave them a better deal. I'm not sure. They did have some more Miller stuff, but it was the smaller, more like this Trailblazer welders. It's the only two big Miller machines that they had. Anyway, so as I say, I'd already seen them before, and so I went and looked at them as the same machines. I decided I'd buy both of them because I know how my luck goes. If I had bought one, I would have probably bought the broken one. That's how my luck goes. So I didn't know when I bought them, that they both worked or didn't work or whatever. They were supposed to work, but I had no way to test them and no way of knowing. So anyway, I bought both of them and figured that, it'd be easier to figure out what's wrong with one if one of them didn't work. I didn't want to buy the one, only one of them, and the one I bought didn't work, So anyway, I bought both of them. I don't know what I'm going to do as far as the other one, getting it fixed, and if I'm going to keep it or sell it or what, but these machines were made in a couple of different configurations. They were made with a CC or CCCV option, which is what this blue here is. That's your CV, and allows you to run a wire feeder like I have here that y'all seen me run before off of this 300D Trailblazer. And that's one of the options that I wanted to make sure it has, because they did make just a CC, and all that's good for is welding with a stick or whatever. So I want to make sure it would run a wire feeder or a weld with stick, because sometimes you need to do each. They also made it with and without this generator option here. The standard generator, if you get just the base machine back then, this is all you got here. You got that little 20 amp 240 plug, and you got a 110 plug to plug a grinder in. That's all you got. This is 4,000 watts or 4 kilowatts, and that's all you got. You did not get this plug here. These machines here have what Miller calls the 3-phase power option. And if you take this panel here out, there's 4 screws, are supposed to be, 2 of these are missing. If you pull these screws out, this panel folds forward, and behind here on the back of this breaker, there's lugs that you hardwire in. You stick a cord in through here, and there's a cable clamp behind that holds it secure, keep it from being pulled out and all that. But there's terminals in here you can wire up 3-phase, and it'll provide 15,000 watts or 15 kilowatts of 3-phase power continuously is what it's rated at. Or if you don't need 3-phase, they provide you with this plug here, and this will provide you with 12,000 watts, which is 12 kilowatts, or 50 amps on each leg of single-phase power, and you have a 50 amp circuit breaker here. And so got this rigged up, so I got a plug that'll plug right in here, plug it up to my house, shut everything down, disconnect from main power grid, crank the generator up, flip the breaker on, ready to roll. So that's where I wanted to make sure that these machines had those options. I would not have bought them if they didn't have, because that's a big benefit of having that, to be able to power your house or whatever, and it'll probably get used as much for that as it will for welding and stuff. So I've got to get some more some quick connects for them right here. I took the leads off my other machine and just stuck them on there. I have not welded anything with this yet. I have messed with the generator part, and so that's going to be coming up in another video. We're going to be doing some testing and stuff on that part. And in this video, I guess we'll crank these up and we'll run a little weld bead over there, see how they weld. But I guess since I got this one here tore apart looking at it, I'll show you, what some of the insides of it looks like. as you can see here. The fuel tank's in the base down there. And I don't know who bolted this on the trailer, but they did not do too good. This one here is done correctly, as you see, front and back. But then that one over there, I don't know. I'm gonna have to fix that. I don't know what they got going on. I'll hop up here and show you the motor. And these are 2013 models. And as I say, I believe 2014 was the last of this design. That's the latest model I've seen. And the reason I think that is because 2013 was, you know, the final emissions, Tier 4 final emission stuff. And these are 32 horsepower. So they're the power of a compact tractor. And I think after that they had to put a DPF on it. I'm not 100% sure, but I believe that is the case. And they had to completely redesign the machine, go with a different motor and whatnot. But 32 horsepower right there. The camera will focus. 1800 RPM. It should say on here somewhere the year model. Anyway, I don't see it, but it should be there somewhere. But usually when they build a vehicle or anything like that, the engine is usually a year older than the vehicle. So that's why I'm thinking 2014 would have a 2013 engine in it. So I think these were one of the last ones made. And as you see, there's no radiator up here. This is actually the oil cooler right here that cools it. And you have a fan right here that pulls air up and through this oil cooler and blows it out here across the top of the engine. And this is your fan belt, and behind there you have a timing belt, and behind this cover. I don't think that'll be a huge problem to change. I've never done one, but it doesn't look too bad. I did read where you have to buy a couple special tools. You have to buy a crank pin kit and cam pin kit, kind of like ISX, where you pin the crank and cam, and then you remove everything. And you have to buy a timing belt tensioner gauge to do it. But that's the fan there, keeps her cool. And they come on these trailers here. These are off-road trailers. They're not, you know, set up with fenders or lights or anything to be pulled down the highway. And I don't trust, this one here has got new tires on it. And I think that one there is, but I don't trust tires after they've been setting up on these small tires. Those things are bad about blowing out on like boat trailers and camper trailers and any kind of stuff like that. So I don't trust them anyway. I'd probably put them on a trailer if I was going very far. The same way that I got them here. So I guess I will set you guys up over here, and we'll start one of these up and get everything hooked up and see how she welds. I just got some lawnmower blades, old lawnmower blades out there in the scrap pile, and we'll run a bead down there and see what I think. $3,400 on this one. The other one's got 4,300, I believe. So for what they are, that's not too terribly bad. These machines should put out enough amperage to be able to do carbon arc gouging and everything. I need to do some of that. Or this machine here is a little bit weak. I don't know what the amperage is on these as far as where I should set this really. They got amperage ranges. And then you have this dial to fine tune it. I've not messed with them, so I don't know where I'm gonna need to set it for like a 1/870/18 or whatever. And it's got this diagram here. It tells you for a softer arc, a stiffer arc, you know, kind of how to set it. but it's going to take a little bit of playing with to figure that out. But to set it to wire feed, you turn this all the way around to right there where it says wire, and then you turn this. I run a CV wire feeder. They do make a voltage sensing feeder. What I have is a CV feeder, and then you just control your wire voltage in this blue band here. You got 22, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, all the way around to 40 volts. But we're going to be messing with a stick, so we're going to flip it around there. Take a guess that that's somewhere about right. All right, guys, I got everything set up here. I'm gonna strike an arc, see what happens. I got to get a new ground clamp. That one there is about wore out. Just kind of got it laid up there. It's no spring tension really on it. Take a look-see at it now. Not too bad. That is a 110-18 rod. It's like a 70-18, but it's a higher tensile strength. Old rods I had in stock for 5 or 6 years. But anyway, I had a little trouble getting it started. Didn't have a good ground, as you noticed there. But seems to weld pretty good, and that amperage I don't think is too far off. That was just kind of a guess there. I'll have to figure out, or I guess when you set up on something welded, just turn the knob to get it to weld like you want to. I don't know. I was gonna say I have to figure out kind of the pattern on it. It's supposed to be like, you know, what I was reading was supposed to be like 115 to 320, and then 50% of somewhere in the middle would be around 218 here. I don't know what that calculates to on the 75 195. I would think 100 and something another 20 30 amps. I'm not sure. Anyway, you can figure it up if you'd like. I don't know what that works out to be, but it seemed to do not too bad there. And these machines are a good bit quieter than this machine here is. I know you guys have heard it in the videos. It's a 3600 RPM unit, and it screams pretty good. These here are, it's a deeper pitch because it's a bigger motor. Motor is about twice that size. I think that's a 18 horsepower at 3600 RPM. These are 32 at 1800. So it's a good bit bigger motor. It's got a lot deeper tone to it. It doesn't bother my ears as much. I think the difference in these and the difference in the big frame, these older big frame 400s and the 500 machines, the 500s have a 4-cylinder engine instead of a 3-cylinder. I want to say they're like 49 horsepower, and of course they got a little bigger generator head to go with that. These are actually rated at 400 amps at 100% duty cycle. They will go up to, I think, 500, but your duty cycle is only like 40% or so. So it will weld over 400 amps, just not continuously. This machine here, I think, is rated at I don't know if it's 260 or 280 continuously, and it will go up to 300. But if you try to do carbon arc gouging with this with like a 1/4-inch rod, it's not enough machine. And also the generator is only a 8 kilowatt 9 kilowatt peak, where this one with this 3-phase power setup here is a 12 kilowatt single phase with a 15 kilowatt peak. It's what it's rated at, and that's a conservative rating from what I've read. And so we're doing some testing on all that, and that'll be coming in some future videos, as well as what the issues I found with this other machine and what we're going to do with it, I suppose. And just got to get some quick connect stuff. This here is from a wire feeder. I did check it out with my wire feeder just on another lawnmower blade, just to make sure that part worked. But that's the first time I've welded with a stick rod with it. But my my wire feeder just hooks up right here, and then that 14-pin connector right here goes in this 14-pin remote. That's just a cap right here. Get this cap off. 14-pin plug there. My other machine's got the same thing on there. That's what Miller uses on a CV feeder, and that makes this work. Which these are really made for you know, to be run off of the like a 304, 350, 450 XMT machine, which is an electric unit, and that's more suitable for a fabrication shop than having an engine drive welder in the shop. But those welders are, you know, they're like $5,000 or something for, you know, a new electric welder, and this feeder is about $4,000 or over $4,000 for this dual setup, maybe closer to $5,000 nowadays. But anyway, for that money, you can just about buy one of these here used, and you know, have the generator part too. Instead of just having a machine that will only weld, I have a machine that will generate power and weld, and so that's more appealing to me. You know, I don't use them enough that it's a big deal to have it. You know, like if you were in a fabrication shop, you wouldn't want to have this running all day long, every day, you know, inside of a shop. But usually I'm only welding 2 to 4 hours at a time, periodically. It's not that big a deal, and you know, it's a little annoying for the racket, but I'm willing to you know, be okay with that for the fact that, you know, I can power my house with this in case of a power outage. So anyway, don't know what I'm gonna do with the other one yet, as I say, but hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I guess we'll do something with all this stuff. We're going to be doing some videos with it, and we'll kind of go from there.
One more thing I wanted to add that I don't think I really clarified in the earlier part of the video. You still can get a machine this big from Miller, but not a 400 amp machine. To get a machine this frame size, you have to go to a 500 amp machine or a 600 amp machine. And they're very expensive. But if you want a machine that's this frame size with a 25-gallon fuel tank, they're no longer available in a 400 that I'm aware of. You have to go to a 500 amp machine to get a machine with this frame size and the bigger generator, the bigger fuel tank. If you want to use something like this, if you're looking to buy engine drive welder, like a lot of people, and you also want to have the generator function, you know, this is an industrial setup. This is like an industrial diesel generator to power your house, and you know, the 25-gallon fuel tank versus a, you know, say if you bought a new 400 amp machine with 11-gallon fuel tank, you're gonna have to keep putting fuel in it a whole lot more than if you got the bigger machine with a bigger fuel tank. But that's just something to think about. I think it's probably $10,000 more for the 500 amp machine than the 400 amp machine, because they made the 400 amp machine smaller with a smaller generator, made it more compact than what these were. The price difference between these larger frames 400 and the older 500 amp machines were not that great. I want to say they may have been, I want to say maybe $5,000 or $6,000 difference is all there were. But now, like I say, they made the new 400s smaller, more compact, and cheaper. So that's probably what you're gonna more readily available find if you're buying a brand new one. They're pretty popular. But if you want to move up to a 500 amp machine that's going to be in this frame size with a 25-gallon fuel tank, if you're thinking about, you know, some serious generator power for your house, you know, you're going to be looking at another 10 grand additional on top of what you would pay for a 400 amp machine, from what I've seen. But you may not need that much. 400 amp machine will definitely do all the welding you'll ever do as far as around your house or any of that. And it may generate enough power for you if you don't mind putting fuel in. Hey, if it works for you, it works for you. If not, you just have to find a used one, because like I say, from what I'm aware of, you know, they do not make a large frame 400 anymore. They made it more compact. So anyway, try to be as informative as possible in the video. Hope you enjoyed the video. Quick like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. We'll see you guys in the next one.